Hello there. So first, a little disclaimer. If you think that I sound sexier than usual today, it's not that I'm trying to seduce you. It's just that I have a sore throat, okay? And in fact, I promise you, I won't be making any jokes about farting or penis size or anything like that. I'll just be showing you some cool licks that you can play on your guitar. Okay, maybe I'll be joking a little bit, but not too much. Just a little bit, you know, like that size of a joke. Not like this size, like just small. Oh, sorry. So first, a few words about the sound. Typically, to get this fat, round sound, you would play on a humbucker-equipped guitar using the neck pickup. And if you want, you can roll down your tone knob a little bit. I didn't do it today, though. And then, you know, plug it into some kind of cranked Marshall amp or plug-in simulating a Marshall amp or whatever, and have a tube screamer in front of it. If you have low output pickups, you can try to boost the signal a little bit with a tube screamer or with any other pedal. So first, here's a cool trick to make your power chords sound bigger. This might look as your typical E minor chord, but it's not, because I'm dampening the G string with my ring finger, and that removes the minor third from the chord, and it technically makes it a power chord. Just two notes in it, but there are different inversions of it, so two notes occurring many times in different octaves. Cool power chord. Now the good thing about playing power chords is that they support distortion very well. If you start playing your standard chords with lots of distortion, you might get an unpleasant sound. So this kind of thing is something I like to do a lot, and it's your lick, you know, starts off with an arpeggio, so you get away a little bit from that, you know, standard scalar sound. This is basically a C major triad, you know. I'm just playing the first three notes. Oops. And I kind of got that from Eric Johnson, and if you check out my last video, you'll see that I'm doing this, and I'm focusing on hammering on the notes with my left hand while picking them. So I'm attacking the notes from two different directions, as I like to say, and that gives me sort of a beefier tone. Now with this next lick, we get a cool type of, you know, question and answer kind of effect, because we started off by playing high up on the neck, and then so that's one way of looking at it, that you're sort of first stating something or asking something, and then comes the answer. And it's a good way to visualize a kind of musical conversation, especially if you run out of ideas and don't know what to play. You can sort of start imagining what would happen if your phrases started communicating with each other. And maybe that can be a way for you to get, you know, creative inspiration. Now, if you don't need that tip, good for you, because you have a lot of creative inspiration already then. For those of us who are struggling with our inspiration, that can be a good thing. So here's how we play it. So let's continue on this question and answer kind of path and play high up on the neck again. And once again, we're utilizing arpeggios to get away from standard sounding kind of rock lines. So what I'm doing is I'm playing arpeggios and I'm alternating between the arpeggios and the E minor scale. This whole thing is an E minor. So I'm playing a D major triad arpeggio. and then back to the E minor scale. So D major, E minor, and then back again to an arpeggio, this time E minor triad arpeggio. Like that, and then we sort of head into the E minor scale. Now, by thinking arpeggios, I think we do get, some sort of unorthodox kind of runs, because you wouldn't typically do that kind of jump in a scalar situation, jumping down almost, an octave or more. So that's, once again, all these things I'm mentioning to you are meant as tools to sort of fool yourself or trick yourself to not go your usual path, We all have our path which we're used to doing, I'll play that lick 1,000 times, or maybe I should stop doing it. And in the same spirit, we can sort of fool ourselves to go into new directions. So instead of thinking the E minor pentatonic scale, I'm going to think, some arpeggio, whatever. And that is can be a very effective way to, get out of your routines. Now this next lick is a good illustration of how I like to look at, faster playing. I don't really want the listener to hear or perceive that I'm, trying to play something fast. So I'll really try to get away from, this kind of stuff. Which is okay, as a tension builder when used occasionally. But I think too much of that and you can sort of ruin good music, because no one can hear a melody in there. It's just more of an effect. So what I like to do instead is this kind of, maybe slash type of approach where you do. There's some fast notes in there, but those fast notes are placed in between two melodic elements. So they sort of, add tension, they add speedy tension. Speedy tension? That sounds like an internet drug. But, it serves a purpose there, and the purpose is to enhance a melody, and melodies are definitely part of music, whereas, incredibly fast runs played for too long time are not really, part of music. They're more of cool exercise or cool shredding, but maybe not so musical. So here's what I'm doing. So one more time, really slow. I hope I didn't do one of those Yngwie classic. Here it is slow. That was pretty slow, wasn't it? Now, obviously, when things go faster, you might not really have the time to pick everywhere. I wouldn't say there's any rules for this, because if you can squeeze some picking in there and make it work, then it will probably enhance your sound. So you can sort of let your level dictate how much picking you want to include in there. Most likely you're going to have some problems executing this one up to speed. So you might want to make it easy for you and just maybe have picking in the very beginning or something like that. And then, as you work on your style, you can see how much picking you can involve. To me, legato or hammer-ons and pull-offs can sound just as good as picking. So it's not like you're a first-class citizen if you can play everything with picking, but it does add a different dimension, and typically we want all these tools to have variation within our playing. That's sort of the goal, to have as many tools as possible. And picking occasional notes or even many notes, that is a tool because it makes it sound different than if you were just doing hammer-ons and pull-offs. And the more tools you have, the more variations you're going to have in your music and in your playing, and the better it's going to sound. So that's why we have all those tools. So this final lick is just a melody, and it has a lot of bends in it, and it's interesting because the bends, if you're like me and have problems bending up to pitch, then you're going to need some help. And besides, practicing day and night, there are some other things you can do as well. For example, what I'm doing here is I'm bending up the D note a whole step to the E, if I get it right, that is. Now, as I said, if you're having problems with this, then it's actually a good idea to play the E note here on the 12th fret high E string as well, so you can sort of hear where you're at. Somewhat right. And I'll do that when playing and trying to play music as well, because it sounds cool. Not only can it act as a help, a reference pitch for your bending, but it's also actually a tool, a musical tool. The thing is, if you get it wrong like I did there, then you're going to get this typical kind of phasey kind of dissonance, which is typical to the electric guitar, especially with the distorted tone. And that sounds really cool, although it's probably a result of someone making a severe mistake and on a record. Okay, so I was bending. Now this next bend has a similar kind of thing. I'm doing 2 bends in a row, and that sounds pretty good to me. It's a musical technique, but it's definitely a tool for those of you who are like me and have problems bending up to the right pitch, because you get a second chance, okay? Now the first bend goes so fast that it doesn't really matter if you hit the pitch or not. So it sort of gives you a chance to feel, okay, so how much bending do I need to apply to reach my pitch? So if you fail the first time, you get a second chance. Now, if you fail the second one, I guess you can add a third chance. Whoops, I failed the third time there. But my point is that it's yet again a musical tool which can sort of help you overcome your handicaps. And that's something you'll often hear me say, or I hope so at least. You're going to hear me say it now, anyway. Hallelujah! No, just kidding. That's not what I was going to say. I was going to say that a lot of times, limitations or handicaps actually results in very good music. I mean, just listen to Kurt Cobain. It sounds awesome. And, he was a bit handicapped. I'm just kidding. But my point is that you can do a lot of good stuff without being incredibly skilled or like a virtuose, and a lot of times the workarounds that you'll need to come up with are actually what gives birth to cool new musical ideas. So don't be so afraid of your limitations, taste them and try them out and see what you could do with them. Like I said, here are 2 examples of bending. Both use techniques that I sort of had to use. I'm not going to say I developed them because other people do them as well, but I adapted them because I had a problem with my playing. And now they're sort of stuck with me because they have musical uses. And you can apply this on so many different levels in music or in life in general. If you've got a handicap, don't be so scared of it. Don't run away as soon as you get in contact with it. Taste your handicap a little bit and see what you can do with it. Now, is it really a handicap? Maybe there's a cool workaround which is going to make, me be perceived as someone even stronger than I was with only the handicap. You know, a handicap plus a workaround is a really cool thing, whereas just the handicap might not be as cool. Now, just the workaround might not be very motivated. Whatever. Okay, so my point is, there are creative solutions to problems, and that's what we're doing here. Now, for the rest of this, I'd suggest just look at the video, look at the tabs, and try to get the note downs. And you know, if you're having problems with hammer-ons, pull-offs, whatever, there are lots of videos out there, including mine, that deal with that. And then back to our power chord there. So I was actually sitting here for a pretty long time trying to think of a smart way to end this video, but I couldn't come up with any smart way to end the video. So you know what? I'll just fix it in the mix. Yeah! You know, when editing the video, I'm going to come up with something really smart to have at the end of the video. Basically, you could say this is a handicap that I'm turning into something really good, right? Because I had no clue how to end the video, but now all of a sudden, new possibilities are opening up. I'm going to sit there when editing the video, and I'm going to get a genius idea, and I'm just going to place it here. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, now! So was that good? I don't know, because I haven't seen it yet. You tell me, okay? See you. Bye. No, Chris, this was not a good idea. It was only a handicap. Nothing else, no workaround, just bad. Bye.